Welcome and hello to our Canva for Authors session. A little bit about me. I know most of you already, so great to see you again. I'm Christina. I'm the founder of Memoir Mentors. It's this great community that we started back in 2020, and we meet every Thursday to write, share, and support each other, cheer each other on. And as far as the art side of things, I've loved art since I was a kid. And I even thought that maybe I would like to be an art teacher until I took an intro to teaching course and went back to my high school art teacher's class. And there were people throwing clay at each other and at the teacher, and very quickly decided, no, that's not for me. So instead, I followed a different path. I got a degree in web development and I had a career as a project manager, traveled for a bunch of or 3 years, and took the writing program at the University of Iowa. And now I do the work that I love most, which is writing, editing, web design, and building spaces for writers to connect. We're going to start out with what you can use Canva for. We're going to talk about the free versus the pro version, and I'm going to give you a few demos tonight. But the first one, we're going to recreate a LinkedIn post. Thanks, Steph, for the inspiration for that one. And I'm going to use that as a tool to help show you how to use the basic navigation and the tools, keyboard shortcuts, layers and transparency. And then we'll also talk about branding, templates, and book covers. And all of you will get a copy of this video a couple days, maybe tomorrow. At least in the next couple of days, I'll give you a link to the video and also will include a quick reference guide. So don't worry too much about taking notes right now. Just try to soak it in and see if you have questions if I'm not covering what you need. So there's lots of uses for authors and for non-authors too. Social media graphics is perfect for that. And one of the things that I see a lot of people, a lot of authors doing for social media is taking a quote from their book, putting it on a beautiful image with a nice font, and having that be something they would use on their social media. You can also make posters and flyers for events or book signings. You can use it to make newsletters, event headers, banners, branding material, business cards, bookmarks, book covers, presentations for classes or events, and you can even use it for inspiration for writing. The way I like to kind of describe Canva is that it's like not Photoshop for dummies because none of us are dummies, but it's Photoshop on easy mode because we don't need all of the extra complicated tools Photoshop has. Canva can do a lot of it in a much simpler way, but there is a learning curve. Um, so I'm going to help you get through that tonight. There are also a lot of everyday uses like party invitations, menus, thank you cards, photo collages, vision boards, travel schedules, goal planning, resumes, holiday letters, QR code generators, that is. And you can even use it to edit videos, which was surprising. I just stumbled onto that recently and it was really easy to do. So Canva free versus pro. Both of them have a pretty big library of templates, graphics, and photos. The free version has plenty of items in these categories to get you started, but you might find yourself limited. That was the big thing that I found when I started out using Canva free, was I would try to find the perfect image for something, and I would do a search and I'd find the perfect image, but then I would see that it would have this little crown next to it. And so that crown is what is all of those images or any kind of features that are pro have this little crown next to them. And you can see in this little simple search I did for piggy bank, over half of them are only available for pro. But you can also filter to see free only, and then you don't have FOMO. Then you don't know all the stuff you're missing. Um, honestly, I think most of you can probably get by without using the pro version. And I'm just doing this this class because I love the tool and I want to help you guys learn how to use it. So you choose what is best for you. Jane Friedman, who I'm sure most of you probably know, she's an amazing person that gives so much to the writing world, and she just uses the free version, so she can do it. So can you. But I love this tool, and so I use it on the pro version. Some of the other things like the ability to export something with a transparent background is only available in Pro. Things like Magic Eraser, Background Eraser, more storage. Those are the things that are available for Pro version. But you can try it for free for 30 days or just use the free version, whatever feels right to you. It's 110 euros a year for the Pro edition. I'll let you guys convert that into dollars. I don't know what that is right now. But anyway, moving on. There are also lots of free alternatives. I'm sure you guys know about these. Lots of free alternatives for images than Canva Pro. So this will be in the quick reference guide as well. So let's get started. Let's dive in to the tool itself. Let's do our first demo. Steph had found this person that she follows on LinkedIn who often has these fun images of she'll have two words that are similar and people don't understand the meanings. And she'll put these little images at the bottom to show what she means by with her text here. So I'm going to walk you through how you might go about making something like this. And I'm not going to try to make it match exactly because that's not really the point. But I'll use this as an example to go over the navigation concepts. So first off, we're going to go to canva.com and oh, and that's interesting. Ellen says if you're with a nonprofit, the paid version can be free. That's great to know. Cool. When you first open Canva, it's going to ask you to log in. I'm already logged in. I'm going to be showing you my pro version tonight, but most of this you can do with free as well. So once you're logged in, this is your main screen here. And you're going to notice it starts you in the search field here, and it starts out defaulted on templates. There are tons and tons of templates here. You can also search for your own designs. If you clicked here, you can do a search through all. I've got tons of things shared here, saved here. Um, there's your brand specific things if you have the pro version. Uh, yeah. So for right now, we're going to want to let's look at the templates. We're going to create a LinkedIn post. And when I just go to LinkedIn, you see that some of them are long like this and some of them are kind of squares. And that's because the long ones are for the banner. And in this case, we actually just want to do a post. So I'm going to change that to post. And again, lots of these are pro, but there's still a pretty good number here that are free. Unfortunately, you can't filter here for just the free ones. But in this case, we just want to do a blank one anyway. Now, the reason why you still want to choose a template, not a template, but why you would want to search for a LinkedIn post instead of just like creating a new post on the fly is because, you know, you might not know what the right aspect ratio is, how many pixels wide, how many pixels tall. It's I don't know how to keep that in my head. And so you would want to use this, it automatically has the number of pixels that is ideal for whatever you're trying to do for social media. So I clicked on LinkedIn post, blank template, or blank post, and it takes me to the design page. It starts you out on this design tab, which I never really paid any attention to because it was like, oh, I don't want a template. This is not what I need. But once I started this class, I realized there's actually something really cool here under the Styles tab. And we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but here are like my brand fonts for my editing business. These are my colors. These are my fonts, and I can just automatically click on that, and it will automatically have these defaulted as my main um, default fonts and things. It also, if you don't have your own brand already defined, you can look down here and see it has all these suggestions for font and palette combinations. Um, so that's pretty cool. But in this case, we don't need all that. We want to start with bringing in, if we look back at the example, it starts out with this person on the front with a megaphone. Okay, so I'm going to go back into that untitled design and I want to bring in a photo. So I'm going to Elements. Elements is where you find photos, graphics, frames, and we'll go a little more into why you'd want to do different ones in a moment. But for now, let's just do a search for a megaphone. Okay. And if we do, okay, says person with megaphone is one of the options here. The top one is graphics, but we don't want graphics. We want photos. But we actually want to say, like, if we look through here, some of these are going to be like this one is vertical, and that wouldn't work for this aspect. For this, we need to have two horizontal. So we can come over here to filters, and we can choose horizontal. And here you could also choose free. Unfortunately, I already looked at this, and there aren't a whole lot of options. Oh, actually, there are quite a few. I had it limited to yellow ones, and there weren't very many people with megaphones for yellow background. But there's quite a few here um, for without that yellow as a filter. But yeah, if you did want to choose, like if you have brand colors that you want to make sure you get, you could filter by that as well. And you can see not much there for megaphone for yellow. So let's take that filter back off and let's bring in, how about let's bring this guy in. Now he's pointing the wrong direction. We want to be pointing the other direction. So I'm just going to flip. There he is, pointing the other direction now. And I'm going to stretch it out so it goes all the way across the screen. And now if we go back here, we see we need a person holding a child's hand. So I'm coming back over here. I'm going to do a search for holding hands, child. And this one looks good. Let's drop that in. And we just drag the box, any place where you see these white bars, that's where you can make it bigger or smaller. And now we want that paint splatter. Back over to Elements, search for paint splatter. And here's where, if you go back here to see, like there's the different types of images that you can put in. If I were to do a photo, for instance, like let's say that this isn't exactly a paint splatter, but if I bring in a photo, you see that it's got all that white background. And that obviously is not what we want for this design. So you're going to be more apt to find something that has a background that just disappears, like we have here, if we go to graphics instead of photos. So I'm going to go to see all for graphics. There's lots of different colors, but you don't have to care about the color too much. Some of them are specific and don't let you change the color, but a lot of them do let you change the color if it's a graphic. You can't change the colors on photos, but you can on graphics. So let's just try. We want to have something that has a pretty good area in the middle that we can put some some type in. So let's try like this one. Okay. So I'm going to make it bigger. Obviously, it's the wrong color. I'm going to come over here to color. I'm going to change that to white. And now I want to start putting my text in here. So I'll just come in and just choose, I can add a text box, or I can click on title, subtitle if I wanted to use one of my brand fonts. Notice it's obviously really small right now, so I can just click on this increase font size. That looks pretty good. And now I'll just type authoritarian versus authoritative. And then I can drag it to the center. One thing that's really cool about Canva is that it does all these guides for you. So you see these pink dotted lines on either side here. So this shows me that I'm lined up with the right hand side of that paint splatter, and I'm even with that line between the two photos. But I want, now I see I do just a little bit more to the right, and then I've got this solid line. That means I'm centered in the entire document, but I'm still not quite centered up and down. So I'm going to go down. Oh, there it's centered, right? Because I got the pink solid in both areas. So that means actually I didn't get this quite right. These are not quite centered, these photos. So I can just drag this down, and now it's centered. Okay. And now I want to drive this back down. So when it's something that's an odd shape like this, it doesn't necessarily, you don't necessarily need to have it centered the same way. I'm going to drag it down. And actually, it's kind of weird to have it in his mouth like that. So I'm going to rotate this a little bit. And I can do that with this little, you see this little thing down here at the bottom that's like the two arrows. And do you like that? Okay, cool. And that looks better. So, but it's still, now it's like, it's too white. So we want that to be a little bit transparent. And you can really easily do that by this transparency tool here. And you just drag it until it's something like that, whatever you feel like is good for yours, for what your use is. And now in that original one, this um, this font here, all of these were in blue. So I'm going to come up here to this text color. I just clicked inside, and then I highlighted that text. Or I could even just like highlight the whole thing just by clicking once and having the whole thing, that whole bounding box will show you that it's selected. Come to text color. And one thing that's really cool is it actually picks up all of the major colors out of your photo. So I could say, yeah, I like this gray blue here. Boom. That matches this gray blue right here. And it kind of makes it harmonizes the look. And but maybe I want it bold. Yeah, that looks better. And then this verses on the sample was in red, so I'm going to change that to the red on the megaphone. Okay, great. So boom, now we have this post. Let's go back and look at it. Again, it's not exact, but it still gets the point across. It's pretty much the same sort of idea, except I see that this original one has this line this black line between these two images. So let's go ahead and add that back in. So I do that by going to Tools and go to Lines, and I automatically just put it right there in the middle. I'm going to stretch it all the way across by going to these little handles on the end. And I want to make it a little wider, so I come up here to Stroke Style, and that looks pretty good like that. You can also change the color here if you want. But yeah, let's put that back to black. Okay, but you see now it's over the top of that text. That's not ideal. And you're like, okay, this is one of the things that is probably the most frustrating when you're trying to get used to using Canva for the first time is understanding the concept of layers. So this, as you add things to an image, they get layered on top of each other. Each thing goes on top, the last thing you put on there. And if I want to move it, I can move things around as much as I want. It's not going to go behind until I change the order of the layers. You can do that. I thought the only way you could do it was by clicking on it and right clicking and going to layer, send backward. And that is one way to do it. So now it's like behind the text, but it's still on top of this paint splatter. So that's not ideal. Um, what I found was as I was researching this actually a much better way to do this. If you go click on the item or just any item and then go to position, there's something here where you can just move things back and forward like this. Um, or you can go to layers and just drag things to where you want them here, which is really cool. Um, ideally I would want it like this, but I'm going to show you what happens, what probably some of you have had happen when you try to move things around if they're not on the right layer, if they're not in the right order. So like this, I want to get to that text. I want to change that text, but I can't seem to get to it anywhere. One way you can get to it is by pressing the tab button. So now that is highlighted, and now I could like right click and change it to bring to the front. So that works. Um, but it's this part, position and then layers that's really going to help you figure out how to access everything, get it laid out the way you want it. Position came when I just clicked on an item, clicked on position. So let's just go back to like here's the image without me clicking on anything. As soon as I click on any item in here, click on that, click on the text. All of these have, once I click on something, position comes up. Um, D is asking make 2 lines, one on each side. Not sure. Could you explain your question a little more, D? While you
I was
type.
thinking that it would, rather than messing with the layers, it'd be easier to make one line on the left from the border to the V, and then on the other side from the S to the other
Hmm,
side of the frame.
you could. Um, but if you want it to actually show through the whole thing, it's better to change the layer order.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
actually easier. Um, once you start putting things as like separate pieces that are actually intended to be cohesive, it gets a little troublesome. But
Okay.
you could do that. And one way that you could do that and make it work better is through using grouping. Like for instance, like, did you have something more to add, Dee?
Oh no, oh no, no. That function actually is very similar to Publisher. I used to use Publisher a lot.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. I've never used that. Um, but grouping is really something that will help. Like in this particular example here, like actually like the text and the paint splatter behind it are kind of one unit. And so you might want to make those into a group, and you can do that by you can click to highlight one of them, and if you hold down the Shift key, and this will be in the quick reference guide, then click on the text. Now you see both of them are selected, and it automatically has this little context menu that comes up where you can group it. And now when you move it around, they move together. And so that's really helpful. And then if you want to, but if you do need to change the text later, oh, you still can. You still can change the text. Yeah, great. But if you do need to ungroup it for any reason, if you decide, oh, actually, I want to move this a little up, before you can do that, you have to ungroup. And then you need to make sure you just have that one piece selected if you want to move just the text. And that's how that works. Um, and Elisa is asking, is there an outline thing like in Word, making a chart or graph where you can choose which sides to have alone or all?
Sorry
Um,
about that. You have some kind of a chart, like a with squares and everything. You can choose to have a line all the way on around the outside, or on one of the four sides, or on two
yeah,
sides,
like so like tables.
like a
So
table. Yeah, that seems like that would have been a way you could do this if they have that option. I don't know if it has that
yeah,
option.
so I've just done that's also tables are here in the tools section. And you can also, like you said, you can do that with the border here. To be honest, I was not especially impressed with their tables. So I ended up, when I've used tables, when I've needed tables, I've actually made them in Excel and then dropped them in here. But it's not bad for simple tables. Um, so in this case, you could come here to border, and then if you like, click
But
border.
that's only if you're doing a table, obviously, not for the text box. You doesn't have that option.
Ah, text box. I see what you mean.
On the
Okay.
picture, yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah, so that is also something that's a little different with Canva. Like when I just input text, it's not like a text box as it is with Word. What I end up doing if I need something that's like a text box, you can instead insert a shape. So if I clear this and go to shape, go to a square, or let's do like this rounded. When I do that, then it acts like a text box with a background. And so then I could type.
Yeah, I meant to go around the picture, have a line through the middle of your picture if those sides were treated like a table.
Mm, no. Pictures, I don't think you can do outlines.
Got it. Sorry.
Good question though. There are limitations. It's not perfect. But you see this would be a way that you could have like if you wanted to have let's say we don't actually want fill, but we wanted to have an outline, you could just do like that, right?
Cool.
And and that way, let's say that you actually wanted to have like that paint splatter isn't your style, right? You want to have your own personal brand, your own personal style. Anna Maria, for instance, who's one of our members, she has a really strong branding style where all of her stuff is pink and they all have the same shape. It's like this with squares on the edges, squared edges, like on these two corners, and curves over here. And so all of her things, when you look at her brand, they all have this cohesive look. So this could be a way if you let's say that you do these rounded edges, you could use this as your tool.
It's got
Um,
frames. I just saw it's gone now, but it had frames a minute ago, which showed a load of different variations on shape, on edges.
hmm Frames are something different. Quickly before we exit this, so after you've completed your design and you like it, another thing that's not especially intuitive is, okay, how do I download this? Um, It's actually hidden under share. There's two ways to do it. You can go to share. That's the way I do it most often. Um, you can also go to file. It takes you the same way. File, download, and then you um, can download it here. You can choose the different types of files that you want to download with. JPEG is the is the best for small if you have like need to worry about space for downloads and uploads. PNG is great as well. So you choose that, and then one of the things that is really annoying is it automatically defaults to exporting every single slide, every single page in your document, and it will download it as a zip file. So you want to make sure if you just want this one image, you come down here and change select pages to current page, and then hit done, and then hit download. Otherwise, when you try to go to upload this to Facebook or whatever, if you had downloaded all of them and you try to upload the file, it's like, where to go? You can't see it when you go to select it in your uploads because Facebook is looking for images and it won't see anything with .zip at the end. But that's just something that you'll get used to. Right, so that's that image. And now I'm going to get rid of this table here and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you frames. Frames are really cool. So we're going to come back here to templates and we're going to look for a book signing. How about that? Okay. And let's just bring this in and you want to bring your picture in instead of her picture, obviously. So you would come here to uploads and I've already uploaded this file of myself and you can just drop it in there. And then this looks a lot more professional than if I had like, if I just dropped this photo in like this, with these hard edges. It doesn't look as professional as if it's in a frame like this. And you can quickly like just drop any photo in there that you've uploaded or another photo from their gallery as well. So anything. And then if it's not centered the way you want it to, you just double click on it and drag it to where you like it. And then like if you want to go back to like maybe these aren't, your brand colors, you want to put your brand colors on, you can go back over here to styles and you can just click like this and it automatically changes everything to your brand. Or you can choose one of the other ones. I just discovered that today. I think it's really cool.
Now,
Um,
how do you change all the type that's on it?
you can change the type just by clicking on it. And then right up here, just choose, there's tons and tons of fonts to choose from. You could come back to, like, let's say you want to search for just anything that's handwriting, for example, and it will show you all of their fonts that are script. Or you can go filter by uh, language. That's not very helpful, but you could say like serif. So you can see any of the ones, serif or any of the texts that have like the little extra little things on them. And sans serif are the ones that are just very straight. And this one you can see it also has, because it has two colors, you can tell that it has an effect applied to it. You can also see right here that effects is colored purple. So that shows you there's been something done to that text. And some of you are like, oh, no, I don't like that. I don't like those colors together. You can click on this. You can just go to effects and then change it to none. Then that goes away. Or maybe you can say, actually, I would like that, but I don't want that green color. Let's change that to orange, which looks terrible. But yeah, you can just play around with it. Also, let's say, okay, that's too thick. You can change it just by changing that thickness bar right there. You can change the size just by clicking like this, or you can just change it like this. It's pretty cool. And it automatically also changes the font if you choose one of these presets. Some of them are pretty terrible, but some of them are pretty cool. So play around, see if you find what you like. One other thing I've noticed when you go searching for images, sometimes if you type in more than one word, it's unfortunately not. Sometimes it works fine, but sometimes it will just search, it'll get kind of hung up and just search for one of those words. So you kind of have to play with the search here. One thing I also discovered when I was doing this is there is this way of like if you click on an item and it's like, oh, I can't remember what I searched for to find this. You can click on the item and then right click and go to info, and it will tell you you can see more like this, and it tells you here's the words that they used as the keywords where you could search for this. You can just click on paint splatter and it will show you other ones, or you can go to see more like this. So that's really helpful. Also, if like let's say I want to have dog walk. I can look at these graphics and oh, here's these paws. These are cute. And it comes up with these magic recommendations. And sometimes if I don't find quite what I'm looking for here, but it's close, I can click here and I can find other ones that are similar to it. And each time you click on one of these, it'll bring up another recommendation that's similar to the most recent one you selected. Sometimes I just end up like putting a whole bunch in so I can see what's there in the recommendations until I find just the perfect one. And then I just go, okay, this is the one I want. I'm just going to get rid of everything else. So I'm just like I'm just clicking and dragging, and I'm just going to delete everything else. Oh, Elisa asks what the right click is on a Mac. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think there is one. David has this enormous problem with everything he does. Like
No, it's
Medium
a
is not
double,
good
it's a
for.
double, hello, it's a double click. And
Okay,
the double click will give you a right click. Yeah.
good to know. Great. Thank you. Here's the keyboard shortcuts. I love keyboard shortcuts. And I'm not going to go through all of these right now, but these can be huge time savers. And these, I did find them for Mac and for Windows. Um, a lot of these will work also outside of Canva, will also work in Word or just um, Windows or Mac um, programs in general. So that will be included in your quick reference guide. And these can be huge time savers. All right, time for branding. I am not a professional brand designer, so I'm not going to give you a whole lot of information here. But as you saw in the styles, there are a lot of pre-built brand colors and fonts there that you could look through. They default to having like five. I think there were five colors you could choose from. When you do your actual website and kind of any of your materials like bookmarks or anything, you probably want to have just two or three colors. So take those five that you start with and just on your images, you don't want to have too many. So you can see here like and white doesn't usually count. If you have more than two primary colors in an image, it gets really busy. And the same for fonts. You want to kind of have three as a maximum per social media post. You can use these in newsletters, websites, author logos, etc. And why it makes sense, why it matters to have consistency with your branding is um, it makes you recognizable. It conveys professionalism. When readers start to see the same fonts, colors, and styles across your posts, newsletters, and flyers, they know it's you. They recognize you. Even if they're not really thinking about it, they can just like with that Jane Friedman thing. Instantly. Oh, I haven't showed you that yet. It's coming up next. Um, you'll see instantly that it's Jane Friedman's stuff. Or like Anna Maria, like I said, she's always got this shape and this color. Not only does it convey professionalism and recognition, it just makes things simpler for you. And so it really makes sense all around to kind of try to find a style that works for you. And then you don't have to worry about, I think when you first get started, sometimes you're thinking, oh, I just did this, that one way last time. I don't want to make it look the same. I don't want it to be boring. But actually, it's better to just keep doing it the same all the time. Here is what Jane Friedman's Canva folder looks like. Really quickly, you can see she uses the same template. All of those images are the same aspect. And so she's used a frame to put all of those author or teacher photos into. She's got that same yellow bar at the bottom of almost all of these. So you can quickly look at it and you don't even I don't see her name there anywhere, but you know it's her. And so that's um, really useful. I'm going to just quickly take you into my um, book club template just to show you like how easy it is. Like if I just take this is our next upcoming book club. If I just go to here to this copy, duplicate page. Now I've got 2 copies of this. I can just go ahead and quickly put in like our next book, or one of our next books is The Dirt Beneath Our Door. And I just Googled this. I'm going to find this image. I'm going to right click and save image as. Just download that to my downloads folder. Come back in here. Replace that title. The Dirt Beneath Our Door. But I noticed, oh, look, it's actually smaller than this. Something else that's cool is this paintbrush, this copy style. So I can highlight the text that I have already um, in the right size and font and everything, and then I can click copy style, and then I just come and paste it over here. And oops, I did the wrong order. Sorry. So I can just come back here, click here, copy, and now paste it here. I swear this works. Aha. Oh, it only works on um, different text boxes. Okay. But I can see up here 29.5 is the size. So I can just click on, highlight that, click 29.5. Fine. And the author name was Pamela Jones. And I can come over here to Elements, or sorry, Uploads. I'm going to upload that file I just downloaded. And as soon as that finishes, I can just drop it in there. And then I put the new date and I'm done. So you can see that it makes it really easy and it creates consistency. And then I can just download these and upload it into my Meetup event as a time saver. Steph is asking if it's okay to download images like that from publisher websites. Great question. Um, I mean, actually, like this is kind of promoting their book, and this publisher actually reached out to us. I should probably check on that. That is a good question. Oh, and somebody else was asking if the design's from Canva, if you have to acknowledge the source. Um, the answer is no, you don't. That's one of the really cool things about Canva. Um, as as long as you don't want to trademark the images, you're free to use any of the images they have. I looked this up in their frequently asked questions. You can even use when they have like templates for book covers, you can use them. Obviously, you need to change the title and the author name, and you might want to change the look around a little bit so that it looks more like your style. But you are welcome to use it, just knowing that somebody else might use the same design. Um, Elisa is asking, why did I say upload the file versus download or paste? Um, Another great question. Actually, when I used to, if you tried to paste an image, it wouldn't work, but I see actually that has changed. I just have my old habit has died hard. Um, you used to have to always go to upload. You couldn't, if you tried to paste something, it wouldn't actually be there the next time you opened the file. But now they fixed it and you can just paste it. So that would work. But I will check on that stuff about the copyright on the images of books. And when you upload your own images, do people see them? No. No, you are the only one that sees these. These are private to your account unless you share them. If you have a shared account and you can like on the pro version, like if I have a team of people, of designers, then we could share uploads, but otherwise, no, I'm the only one that sees them. Okay, great. Steph has an answer for us. It's usually okay to use the book cover image um, for personal reference. Publishers and sellers expect people to see and even share these promotional images in limited ways. Okay, be careful. Using the images beyond personal use, such as reposting it on your own website, putting in an ad, or using a product you're selling can run into copyright and licensing issues. That makes sense. Okay, great. Good to know. Thank you. Choosing colors. Um, One of the easiest ways to choose a color palette, besides using just their pre-built ones, is if you have a picture of something or an image of something that you really like, you can upload that and it will give you the colors in that picture. Or there are a lot of other palette generators like mycolor.space and ColorMine. There's tons of them out there. You can also do some research on the psychology of colors. There are a lot of pre-built um, color palettes. Choose one you like. If you don't have a photo you like yourself, you can do a Google search for photos or search Canva's Fast Library. Choosing fonts is also important because you need to think about your writing style, if it's serious, playful, modern, intimate. The fonts really do set the tone. And again, you want to keep it simple. You don't want to have more than 2 fonts, 3 max. And also when you share a post, you need to make sure that it is readable when it's displayed at 100%. So that is something to keep in mind, like when you are looking at um, your Canva posts, like here. You see where actually the zoom here is at 43%. So this is viewing quite small. So if we change this to 100%, you can see that's definitely no problem to read that. But it just kind of depends on, like if this is the size you're going to be sharing on LinkedIn, if it's only going to be like this big, that's not going to be big enough to read, right? Elisa, about using the images on a website, I mean, we are not like I do have these posted on the Memoir Mentors website. In Canva, you can use these images on your website. You can use Canva images on your website. You can even use like I have a memoir related um, Etsy shop, and I use Canva to build my my images. You have to change them, but like this one, for example, I took that background and I changed the colors and I put my font on it, and that is 100% okay to use. I checked their frequently asked questions, their licensing, read the fine print, and it said, as long as you make some changes to it, you're good to go. Kind of surprising, but yes. Oh, another thing about making text more readable is you can use the line spacing, letter spacing, and effects. We've already looked at the effects. Like in this example, if I want to just take this text and let's say I want to like make more space in between the lines, I can just come here to this T and I can just quickly stretch it. You can also change the letter spacing here. And then using these backgrounds, these rectangled shapes, um, can help you. Now let's see, like in this example, if I wanted to like make this a little more transparent, look, there's a kitty back there. Um, obviously that transparent you can't read. So you need to like find a transparency where you can see both. You can create QR codes really simply. I love this. And a lot of other tools, you have to pay for it. Oh, I'm not positive if this might be a pro feature, but like if I come to apps and just type QR code generator, there's tons. I don't see anything that shows that they're pro only. And you can just click on like simple QR code. Oh, that's helpful. I'm not sure why that's coming up, but let's try this QR code. There we go. That works. And you can just put in like your website that you want it to go to, generate code, and boom, you've got a QR code. You can create it like you see here, just directly into the design you already have. You can create a separate document just for that that you can place in other. Um, you can download it and then upload it. Use it many different ways. Yeah, there are other free QR code generators. I made the mistake of using one that I didn't realize was required you to pay for it after a certain amount of time. And so my QR code expired by the time I had an event. So that was great. And now book cover designs. There are lots of templates you can use in Canva to create book covers. Having a cover, even if it's just a mock-up, can be really motivating for a writer to see, have this that you can add to your website. Um, there's yeah, it makes you feel more like a professional when you have something that you can look at as this is what my book might look like someday. For your final cover, I would recommend hiring a professional designer because it is really important to have a really good impression and really good um, book cover. But using Canva can also just even help you if you do decide to hire a cover designer. It can really help you kind of streamline that process because you can create like a mock cover and then you can say, okay, I know that I kind of like these fonts, I know that I kind of like these colors, these kinds of images. And then if you bring that to the designer, then you're going to have a much stronger result faster. It's helpful to look at other covers that are out there. This is a really great kind of a roll-up of the 56 most popular memoirs in the past decade. That link is included in the quick reference guide. And so you can look, you see in this image here, all of these celebrities obviously have their image, their actual image on the cover. As far as non-celebrities, there is less of that, but it is definitely still done to have a photo. But you just kind of choose something that resonates with you and with the book, but kind of look at what else is out there to kind of get a feel for what is selling, what kind of things you like. Um, As I mentioned before, you can use Canva templates for self-published books. If you get traditionally published, they're gonna want to create a different cover for you. Free and pro content is all allowed for commercial use. You can modify the fonts, images, colors, layouts. You cannot trademark a template as is. So if somebody else comes along and wants to use this template, um, that's that's a risk. I mean, it's not a risk. It's just you're not going to be unique. So it's just good to know. So let's quickly just take a look at what is out there for book covers. So I'm going to go back here again, and I'm going to do a search for book covers. Oh, but I don't want to be here under create a new. I want to go to templates. So there's hundreds and hundreds. So you probably want to go and limit it down a little bit. You might say, I want something that's elegant. And these are automatically sized to, well, let's see. Let's choose one. Let's try like this. You can just click on one and you can customize this template. Uh, Not really great for my memoir, but you know. If you go to resize, you can see um, suggested sizes. You can put in whatever size you're interested in. I thought that it would list like what the current size was, but I'm not seeing that. But you can see this is like a standard paperback, I would say, paperback size. I want a custom size. There we go. Custom size. Oh, here we go. So it shows you that's what it is in pixels. There's what it is in inches. So this is large format, but you can always, it's good to have something to start out larger and then you can always shrink it down smaller, but you can just put in, yeah, like 8.5 times 5 point by 5.5 is standard. One of the sizes. Go to copy and resize. And then you can just come in here and change book title to the name of your memoir. And what I often do is I will go and I'll find, okay, no, I don't like that one. I'm gonna go search for something different. Let's say I'll try this one. I like the magic recommendations again. Um, you can kind of search for ones that are similar without knowing the exact search terms. They all have their own fonts already paired with them. You're welcome to change any of them, of course. Looks like there's a lot of romance ones. Uh, and what I end up doing is just like opening a whole bunch of them until I find the one that I like. And I might just go, I'm going to show you where if I go to my folders or my search my designs. We're doing an anthology, and I've started working on the covers for that. So I just went and just copied all of the ones I thought I might be interested in and put them in one place. And you can also like, let's say, for instance, I wanted to take one of those other ones I just copied. I can just add a page and come back over here. Not that one. Let's say this one. I can just do Control A and that selects everything. And then come back to that other design, Control V, and that pastes it. And you notice it didn't do the background because that is set as the background. But I can come here and just click on that now, Control C. So I'm actually copying between tabs. I can copy, and it could be different windows. It's pretty cool how you can just quickly copy and paste between different places. And then you just come and change, like, oh, I don't like that font. I like this font in this other one. What is that? That's Cormorant. So I'll just come down here. Oh, wait, I'll do my paintbrush. It's gonna work this time. Copy style. There it goes. And so you can just change it to suit yourself. These are not actual books. These are just they have designers at Canva that, and I think that maybe for some freelancers that upload designs, and so These are not actual books. You're not going to worry about copying somebody else's book by um, putting your things up here. Oh, and Joe just gave me a tip. Click on the file in the menu bar and the size will be listed. Oh, I forgot about that. That's right. Usually when you go to save it, like the name will have it in it even. You can also notice that this is the name of the file here. And so this is where, um, now I'm not saying that the titles are not already in use, but these are not the actual books. So Karen is just saying she's surprised the titles are not already in use. Um, there is no copyright on a title name. So there could be plenty of books out there. Recently, one of our memoirists did a book called like The Road to Somewhere. And there were a couple books with that same name. And so I think she changed it a little bit. Um, but it's still, it's got a different cover. It's got a different author name, right? But you change the name of the file here in the top to my memoir. And then when you go to just to download it, it will have that name. And when you have a bunch of them like this, it defaults to page one, page two, page three. You can change the name here. Beige, right? So when I download that, then would have that name attached to it. Elisa says somebody, this happened to a poetry teacher just after his book was published. Someone like like him also used the same title. It happens. So now we have time for any other questions or comments. Sylvia is asking if the LinkedIn stuff works for Instagram too. Yeah, you might want to change, it would be a different aspect ratio maybe though. So let's go ahead and just, that's a good question. I'm going to go and open that document I made. And I'm going to resize that as an Instagram post. I think this actually is the same aspect ratio, so I think it's not going to look any different here. But like let's say a Facebook, because Facebook does have a different aspect ratio. So let's say that it's like a Facebook ad, for example. I'm going to copy and resize and then click open. So you see, this doesn't look so good this way, but you can change it. You might need to change your design, but at least it gets you a good part of the way there.
Because if
Okay.
you're trying to make a regular kind of, identifiable brand identity, as it were, for Instagram, Facebook, and all the rest of it, that you'd have to take that into account at the basic construction stage, wouldn't you, then?
I mean, as long as you have like your colors, your fonts, you can change you can still get your brand can still be recognizable at different aspect ratios.
Okay, thanks.
But yeah, you don't want to, if you create like a really long, narrow logo, for example, that might look kind of weird when you're in like Instagram square posts. It's going to be like all the space above and below it this long. So that is something to keep in mind. Often squares seem to be kind of the generic way that things are heading as far as imagery. Parchin said she used the Instagram post template today, and when she went to post on Instagram, it was the wrong size. Like sometimes when you go to upload something, there's like a place where you can select, and I'm not very Instagram savvy to be honest. I don't like Instagram, but I know there's a place where you can choose if you want square or portrait or landscape, and so maybe that you need to change that
Canva has a LinkedIn template, but it doesn't have um, the one you were just talking about.
Instagram? Oh, it does.
Instagram.
It
Oh, okay.
does. There's different versions. You'll notice
Uh,
there's a bunch of different types. And so it depends on what kind of post you're going to make. Elisa is asking, can you design a web page and paste that into your website to replace what is there now? No. Not exactly. I mean, you can use pieces of it for sure. You can use it for
got it.
backgrounds, but you can't um you're not going to have links that work. You're not going to have I mean, if you just want to have like just a static, just an image, okay. Yeah, I suppose you could do that. But mostly you're probably going to want to have something that would be a little more interactive. And I think unless something has dramatically changed since I looked at this last, um, you can get inspiration. Again, it'd be kind of like what I was talking about with like the book covers. You could go ahead and create something that you kind of like the look of here in
Right.
Canva, and you could take that to a designer and say, I want something like this. And that would make it a lot easier for them if you provide that kind of guidance.
Mm,
But it's not going to automatically just work as a web page.
thanks. Good idea. Good advice about giving it to the designer.
Great. Okay. I think that's all the questions. Unless there's something else, I will bid you all a good day, good evening, whatever it is.
Thanks, Christina.
Great meeting
So
you.
much.
With those I haven't met you before, and great seeing familiar faces. I'm glad it was helpful. Until next time.